Hello, this is Andrei and today we're going to drive and discover the new Volkswagen CC. Oh, I just said that, didn't I? Cut. Volkswagen doesn't want you to call it like that because it doesn't sound posh enough. The Arteon, by its real name, is another take at the premium segment where BMW, Mercedes and Audi, just to name a few, are deciding what's what. Before saying too bad it's a Volkswagen and deciding it doesn't have what it takes to be a premium car, let's take a better look at it first. On paper, the Arteon sits a bit lower to the ground than the Passat and is a bit wider than its boringly looking counterpart. And Arteon's design does a great job in making this difference a bit bigger than it really is. The car's front fascia makes a bold statement with its deep grille and the elongated headlights that seem embedded into it. However, the exterior design's audacity is not continued inside at all. If the new Arteon's interior might seem familiar to you, that's because it's actually Passat's interior. But that's not necessarily a bad thing, is it? As the interior finishes are faultless and the material variety includes even Nappa leather. It's not all pimped, like in an Audi for example, but it's nowhere near disappointing either. From the driver's side, you have the fully digital 12.3-inch active info display that prompts every information you need, both car and infotainment related. Speaking of infotainment, the 9.2-inch screen on the central dash is barely a thing you'll get in touch with, as most of the info can be displayed on the active info display through the controls mounted on the steering wheel. It has really nice graphics and decent response time and can be enhanced with a gesture control feature. In all honesty, once you lay your eyes once on the active info display, you will forget about the central info screen's existence. It makes for a welcoming host, especially on a rainy day like this one is. And thanks to its length increase, not only the front seats are comfortable, but the rear ones are as well. So, let's jump in the back. In the rear, you have plenty of seats for 2 and even 3 adults if needed, with a lot of knee room and, well, not as much headroom as in the Passat, but that's kind of natural because the Arteon has that sexy sloping roofline that eats headspace as with any 4-door coupe. You also get cool amenities like rear seat air conditioning and even heated seats. Cool, huh? And if you are too tall for your own comfort while sitting in the back, you can also make use of that extra legroom and slide a bit. Talking about space, let's see what the boot looks like. So we have reached the point where we talk about how the new Arteon drives. Well, it's not fast, especially in this engine version. It's a 2-liter turbocharged 4-pot, a diesel 2-liter, good for 150 horsepower and about 250 pound-feet of torque, or 340 Newton meters if you want. So yeah, it does not to 62 miles per hour or 100 kilometers per hour in about 9.1 seconds. Fast, it is. But it makes for a very good all-rounder. It has an incredibly good fuel efficiency rating, as expected, right? Volkswagen claims it can cover about 53.5 miles per 1 gallon of fuel, which is about 4.4 liters per 100 kilometers in Europe. I don't think that's possible, and you know that's virtually impossible. I mean, now the instrument cluster shows me that my average fuel consumption is about 9.6 liters per 100 kilometers. But it's worth saying that I've been using the DSG in the sport mode for most of the time. I can see myself covering the 670 kilometer distance until refueling without even stopping, because the new Arteon is really comfortable and quiet. Yeah, the soundproofing is really a thing on this one. I mean, you can do even 50, 60 miles per hour and still be able to talk with your passenger effortlessly. If you are willing to pay more money for more power, you have that option, of course. There is the 240 horsepower diesel, again a 4-pot turbocharged, and a 280 horsepower petrol. It's an enjoyable ride, this one, and it's even more enjoyable if you pay a little extra for the electronic nannies that take care of the road ahead of you. Speaking of electronic nannies, what I have here is the lane keeping assist, which, you know, keeps the car between the lines, so you can even fall asleep while driving it. Although it's not meant for that, it's meant for stopping the car if you become unresponsive while driving. Unfortunately, the road markings don't allow me to show you how this works. Or do they? Thing is, there's an icon there on the bottom of the active info display, and if it's green, it means it works, and if it's red, it means it doesn't work. And unfortunately for me, I can't tell the difference between red and green. Change the colors, Volkswagen. So yeah, the best for me in this case is to not become unresponsive, to not faint or something while driving, because this thing won't help me. In Romania, you are not allowed to black out, Jesus, to black out while driving. So is there something I don't like about the car, you might ask? I would have loved to have the adaptive damping system, which can stiffen the car at the push of a button, but that is an optional feature. So there is the possibility to make this car even better. Braking is also good. Oh, I know what I don't like about Arteon. It's this diesel's voice. I mean, it's really clattery, it's really loud. It might not bother you while on the inside because the soundproofing is really well done in this car, but on the outside it has that really annoying clatter. It's like welcome to the 90s. So we've reached the conclusion part of our test drive, which is the pricing. Yeah. But it's not the car's fault though. I mean, look at Audi, look at BMW, right? They have the A5 Sportback and the 4 Series Grand Coupe, which is basically a more posh 3 Series. So why wouldn't Volkswagen be allowed to do the same thing, right? Cladding up a Volkswagen Passat and asking more money for it. Its main problem right now would be its resale value, which drops dramatically compared to its more premium rivals. I really hoped I wouldn't reach this conclusion, but here we go. It's too bad it's a Volkswagen. Because whoever said about Passat that it's a bad car? No one, right? And this is an even better Passat, which asks for more money, but that's kind of natural nowadays, isn't it? It has, of course, an incredibly good fuel efficiency. You have the... You have... Is it on? I can't even tell it. No, it's not. It's not.